YouTube, what's up? It's your boy Sean here again. I'm Sean's Rabbitry and Aquaponic produce, and we back with another rabbit farming video. As you guys saw from the earlier footage, it's another beautiful day out here in the Waterfield area in Trinidad. We know that some of our viewers are not local, so I mean, if you're not familiar with where we are located in the world, you can check us on the map. I mean, Trinidad and Tobago, it's a twin island republic. We're located just north of Venezuela. We're the last island in the Caribbean chain. We have something of a unique climate here. As a result, a lot of the, just some quick trivia, the #1 highest grade cocoa in the world is grown right here in Trinidad and Tobago. And it has a lot to do with our location. So we have a really unique climate here where we can grow almost anything year round. Anything that's suited to a warm climate, of course. Okay, so no apples so far that I know of. Things like pears. I know there are some people who grow grapes in certain parts, you know, to a limited extent. But those aren't really commercial crops out here. But other than that, most other fruits and vegetables can be grown here year-round. So that is something that's really special about Trinidad and Tobago. But today, we are continuing our series on common rabbitry mistakes. You may hear a lot of bird sounds in the background. Okay, there's nothing I can do about that. That's because we have a fairly large aviary to my left, and it attracts a lot of wild birds as well. So there are always a lot of birds in and around the rabbitry. Yeah, we have lots and lots of wild birds in our area, and we are grateful for that. So we do our best to try and preserve and do as little harm as possible to the natural environment here, because it's really lovely up here on this side of the country. So we're coming back with another common rabbitry mistake. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after the intro. Okay guys, so I have a good one for you today. Since we're talking about the common mistakes that persons make when getting into rabbit farming. I remember now this entire series is for everyone, but it's geared more towards persons who are just getting into rabbit farming, or you're interested in getting into rabbit farming, so you have an idea of some of the things that you have to plan for before you jump head first into this venture. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make is starting off rabbit farming without a proper breeding plan. Now, I'll explain that a bit more. Now, you can look at it a number of ways. Well, let's say one of two ways you can look at it. Now, a proper breeding plan is going to help you decide what type of rabbits you're going to start off your venture with. On the other hand, a proper breeding plan is going to ensure longevity of your operation. It's going to help you to expand and improve your stock and your entire operation as you go along. So you must have some type of structure, and this is something you need to have before you start, because it's going to help you determine a lot of other things, like for instance the number of cages that you need to start with. That's the next video we're going to touch on. So you guys, I'm giving you a preview. You can look out for that video next Monday, please God. We're going to be talking about starting your rabbitry and not having enough cages. But coming back to our topic for today, let's look at the lack of a breeding plan. Okay? Now when you've sat down and you put your plan on paper, that's important. If you have a plan or a goal, commit it to paper, write it down. Until you do that, it's just out there in space somewhere out there. It's not going to come home. The subconscious isn't going to go to work on that idea until you commit it to paper. So write your goals down. So you come up with your plan. Let's say you decide that you're going to target the pet market. You're going to breed and raise rabbits to supply pet owners. In that instance, you are probably going to be looking at some variety in colors, because most pet owners, or let's say the persons who buy pet rabbits, most times are buying them for their children, or they are adult pet owners as well. But most persons who are looking for pet rabbits, they are attracted by color. So in your case, you're going to veer more towards colors and a mixture of colors, maybe even some crossbreeding to produce new colors and new variety of colors and things like that, because that is what most persons in the pet markets are attracted to. So in your case, pure breeds and pedigreed rabbits may or may not suit your purpose, but it's not as important as we'll explain later on. Now, one of the biggest mistakes where the supplying of pet rabbits is concerned is that persons don't pay attention to size. I personally have experience, and I know other farmers have as well, where persons have bought rabbits as babies or weaners as a pet for their children without considering the full grow out size of that particular breed of rabbit. So they buy it small, and 6 months down the road, when it's a big buck peeing all over the place, they realize then that they are not equipped to properly deal with a rabbit of that size, and there are instances where they want to return the rabbit in exchange for another young one, or even sell that rabbit and buy another young one even though the rabbit isn't that old. So I think there's a responsibility on the part of the breeder or seller to inform persons about the final growth size of that rabbit. Furthermore, you can even consider offering them breeds that will always remain small. Right? There are lots of small breeds out there, but for the local clientele here, I know of a few reputable farmers right here in Trinidad who have quality miniature rabbits for sale. So if you're looking at that, I know for a fact that here in Trinidad we have Netherland dwarfs, we have Holland lops, we have lionheads, and we also have the Pt.3. So if you're looking for a pet rabbit that is always going to stay small, then you should probably choose from one of these 4 breeds. If you're interested in getting one of those breeds, feel free to contact us and we will refer you to the relevant farmers where you can acquire your pet bunny. Now, as a quick side note, I just mentioned contacting us. Remember, if you're new here, definitely please hit that subscribe button and follow us. We bring rabbit videos to you every week, and we're trying to get that information out there to help you all make the right decisions. Make sure you hit that little bell also so you'll get notifications whenever we upload new content. All our contact information is in the description below. And I emphasize on that because every week I get comments from persons asking us for a contact number and where we located and things like that. But most times I think I do mention that all our contact information is in the description box below the video. Now, just quickly, for the persons who are not familiar with the YouTube platform, let me just show you what you're looking for. When you're on that video, when you scroll down a bit, just below the video, there's a description area. You may not see all the information there, but if you look right here, this area here where it says show more, you're going to click on that, and then the entire description box is going to drop down like this. And here now you will see all the contact information and links to other videos and things like that. So that's just for the uninitiated, because I realized from the comments that a lot of persons aren't familiar with the YouTube platform, so they don't know where to locate that description information. Okay, now back on point. If you're a homesteader or a backyard farmer, as we like to say here in Trinidad, your breeding plan might involve you being able to produce enough rabbit meat to sustain your family. In your case, breed may or may not be that important. However, since you're trying to run a sustainable operation, it would still make sense to probably choose breeds that are suited for meat production. Okay, you're going to choose breeds that obviously produce good meat, good pelts as well, because I know a lot of homesteaders, you all dry those pelts and you make clothing and boots and things like that from it. That's not such a big market here in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know of anyone that does it. I've been thinking about trying it for a while. I just haven't gotten around to it. But I think the major kickback here with us is the way that we process our rabbits. Now in the US and most other parts of the Caribbean as well, rabbits are skinned so the pelts can be saved. But here in Trinidad and Tobago, we do what we call singeing. So we use a torch to burn the hair off the rabbit so that the meat is sold with the skin on it. And due to that type of processing, we don't really have access to much pelts. But like I said, it's still something that I've been looking at, and I'm thinking about trying it just for that experience. Of course, when I do it, I'm going to share that with you all as well, so you can look out for that. So the homesteader, you are going to use rabbits that are suited for meat production as well, probably produce good pelts as well, and have a good meat to bone ratio. So looking at other videos on YouTube, I know a lot of persons use the Rex breed because they produce a nice pelt. They do have a good meat to bone ratio, and they produce good meat as well. Any other breeds that you all use out there in the US or Europe or even on the African continent for multi-purpose, right? Link me in the description, let me know so we can touch on that as well. And the homesteader as well, you may tend to bridge the gap between meat production and the supplying of pet rabbits, because I know a lot of homesteaders would supply the pet market, because as long as your neighbors know that you rear rabbits, from time to time persons are going to come asking for a young rabbit as a pet and things like that. Just remember to advise them about the final grow out size and weight of whatever particular breed you are dealing with. The third person in this equation is the commercial meat producer. If you are going into commercial meat production, you should definitely specialize, and I believe we spoke about this in our last video in part 2 of this series, right? If you haven't seen part 1 and 2 as yet, definitely go and check that out. I'll leave the link to those in the description below this video. So as a commercial meat producer, definitely you are going to need to specialize. As a matter of fact, I don't think as a meat producer you should carry more than 2 breeds of rabbits. So in our case, we breed only New Zealand White and California. Reason being, right, those are 2 ideally suited meat producing rabbits, and the crossing of those 2 breeds and that hybrid vigor that's activated by doing so creates a faster growing offspring, which is what you really want in commercial production, because the money in commercial production is made in rapid turnover. So you're going to want good quality stock to start with. You want to choose rabbits that are ideally suited for meat production. You're going to specialize in 1 or 2 breeds, and you want rabbits that have a fast growth as well as an excellent feed conversion ratio. Those are the things that you need to incorporate in your plan when you're thinking about going into commercial meat production. So that's some food for thought. We're coming back and we're gonna be looking at how you're gonna be using your breeding plan to grow and improve your rabbitry. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so we're still talking about having a breeding plan, a proper breeding plan before you're getting into rabbit farm. We spoke about starting with good stock. Now this is gonna hit home a lot more for the commercial producers, but the same information can be applied on the homestead level or even on the pet farmers level, because it comes down to your ability to preserve genetics to ensure longevity in your operation. So the first thing you're going to be doing is planning to start with good stock. It makes no sense starting a rabbit business with rabbits that lack proper information, or purchasing stock from breeders that don't keep proper records. From time to time I speak to farmers or young farmers who are just starting up, and they told me, I bought these rabbits from a guy and he told me that they were about 3 months old. Come on, if that person is keeping proper records, you should know the exact date of birth of that rabbit, so you'll know the exact age. That way you'll know when they're old enough to start breeding and things like that. Plus that goes together with the fact that you'll be weighing them and things like that to make sure that they are the appropriate weight to begin breeding. So success in your rabbit operation means that you have to eliminate as much of the guesswork as possible from that process. So you're starting with good stock. You're going to purchase stock from someone who keeps proper records so you know what you are buying. That's one. Now you have these rabbits ready to start breeding. You also have to maintain proper records. Now if you haven't seen our video on record keeping, I'll link it in the description below. Definitely go and check that video out. Record keeping is the most important aspect of rabbit farming. I'll say it again. Record keeping is the most important aspect of rabbit farming. I hope you all are hearing me, because people always call me asking for advice on certain topics, but they have no information to give me for me to be able to render an educated guess or proper response. You all need to keep records, ladies and gentlemen. Please keep records, dates, births, breeding dates, weights, your, come on, litter sizes, survival rates, growth time, growth weight. You all need to be keeping detailed records. So you've started breeding. Let's say you've started with 4 does and 2 bucks. Now when you start breeding, you're going to be keeping records of the litter sizes, litter weights, things like that. All of these things now are going to help you determine which of those pairings were the best. Because remember, you're breeding 4 does to 2 bucks. So at some stage, each of those does would have been bred to either of your 2 bucks. Your records now are going to show you which pairings produced the best litters. So firstly, if a pair of rabbits produce a good size litter that grow out well and make the growth weight in the allotted time, in most cases it's 8 to 12 weeks, you're looking at 5-6 pounds average. If that pair adheres to the plan, then it makes sense to continue to breed that pair to each other. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. It makes no sense mixing up things all the time, just looking to see what you'll get. If you have gotten a result that you're pleased with, then continue to repeat that process. To do the same thing over and over and get the same result. That's what we call having structure in your breeding plan. If you haven't already gotten the hint, these are the litters that you're going to be choosing future breeding stock from. Now, if you've seen our video on line breeding, you know what I'm speaking about. If you haven't, I'll leave the link in the description below. Now, some persons have a personal and moral thinking, so they have a problem with the line breeding process because you're going to be breeding rabbits that are related. So in cases like that, now you would keep those from those litters, and when they're old enough, you would breed them back to their sire. The purpose of that is to maximize the sire's genetics in that second generation of offspring. Otherwise, before long, you're going to have to get another good buck, and you're going to be losing all of your good genetics, because every time they rebreed and rebreed and rebreed, it's less and less of the original genetics that you started with. So the line breeding process will help you to preserve some of your genetics. Whether you're for or against line breeding, that's entirely up to you. I have no problem, right? Everyone's entitled to their opinion. However, we do line breeding and it has been successful for us, so we will always promote that process. And since we're looking at growing out rabbits quickly for the meat production, you want to take full advantage of that hybrid vigor that happens when you cross two purebred rabbits. This is the only time that I suggest or encourage crossbreeding of rabbits. I don't like crossbreeding of rabbits. I like to keep pure lines at all times. So whenever we do crossbreeding to take advantage of that hybrid vigor, those are litters that none of the rabbits are kept. All of them go to the meat market because we're just focusing on fast growth and turnover of those rabbits. So that's the only time I personally suggest crossbreeding. Another thing is the use of the terminal cross, which also takes advantage of hybrid vigor. Right, that's where you use a third breed of rabbit, a buck that you're going to breed to offspring from that first crossing. Right, I'll leave the link to that video as well in the description below, so you can go ahead and check that out, so you have a little more idea of what the terminal cross involves. Okay guys, so I'm going to leave it there for today. If you all have any questions, please leave it in the comment section below. Okay, I'll touch on it in a subsequent video. Again, if it's your first time with us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that little bell to turn on notifications whenever we upload new content. Okay, so guys, it's your boy Sean here again on behalf of my business partner Sean McLean, Sean's Rabbitry and Aquaponic Produce, signing out. See you guys in the next video. Peace.